The rain hammered against the windshield as my taxi crawled through Vancouver's downtown core. 22 years I'd spent in the oil sands of Alberta, breaking my back in Fort McMurray's brutal winters, all so my son could have something better. The $3.2 million waterfront condo in Cole Harbor, I'd bought it outright, put it in his name before I left. A gift, a future. His inheritance while I was still alive to see him enjoy it. I pulled my coat tighter as I stepped out onto the rain-slicked pavement. The building loomed above me, all glass and steel, exactly as I remembered from the photos he'd sent years ago, back when he still sent photos, back when he still called. The lobby was warm, expensive, marble floors, leather furniture. I looked down at my worn boots, my oil-stained jacket. I looked like exactly what I was, a rigger who'd spent 2 decades in the patch. The concierge eyed me with barely concealed distaste. "Can I help you?" His tone suggested I was already a problem. "I'm here to see Unit 2804, my son, Michael. Mr. Petrov doesn't take visitors without an appointment." Petrov. The name hit me like a fist. That wasn't my son's name. That was his wife's maiden name. Elena Petrov, the Russian girl he'd married 8 years ago, right before I left for my last contract. Beautiful, charming, and I'd thought at the time a bit too interested in the condo's value. "I'm his father," I said quietly. "Tom Chen." The concierge's expression didn't change. "I'll need to call up." He picked up the phone, spoke in low tones. I caught fragments. "Says he's the father." "Yes, that's what he looks like." "Understood." He hung up. "You can go up." The elevator ride felt eternal. My reflection stared back at me from the polished doors, gray hair, deep lines around my eyes, hands that would never look clean again no matter how hard I scrubbed. 63 years old and I looked 70. The doors opened on the 28th floor. I found 2,804 and knocked. Elena answered. She'd changed. The warm smile I remembered from the wedding was gone, replaced by something harder, more polished. Designer clothes, expensive jewelry. She looked through me before looking at me. "Yes? Elena, it's Tom, Michael's father." Something flickered across her face. Surprise? Annoyance? It vanished quickly. "Oh, Tom, Michael didn't mention you were coming. I wanted it to be a surprise." "Is he home?" "He's at work. At the firm." She didn't move from the doorway. Behind her, I could see into the condo. My condo. The one I'd worked myself to exhaustion to buy. And then I saw him. Michael, my son. But he wasn't at work. He was in the kitchen, visible through the open concept layout, wearing an apron, scrubbing dishes. "Michael," I called out. He turned, and for a moment, just a moment, I saw recognition. Then fear. Then nothing. A blank mask slid over his features. "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" His voice was different. Tired. Defeated. I felt the world tilt. "Michael, it's me. It's Dad." Elena stepped between us, her voice sharp. "I think you're confused. This is Mikhail. He's our helper. He lives here, takes care of the household." "Helper?" The word came out strangled. I looked past her at my son. Really looked. He was thin, too thin. Dark circles under his eyes. The expensive watch I'd given him for his 30th birthday was gone. The confident posture I remembered had collapsed into something hunched, beaten. "Michael," I said again, ignoring Elena. "What's going on?" "Sir, I think you should leave." A new voice. A man emerged from one of the bedrooms. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a suit that probably cost more than I made in a month. "I'm Dmitry Petrov, Elena's brother. This is our home, and you're upsetting my sister." "Your home? This is my son's condo. I bought it. I have the papers." Dmitry smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Papers can be complicated. After Mr. Chen's unfortunate incident, ownership transferred to my sister. All perfectly legal. If you'd like to discuss this with our lawyers, I'm happy to provide their contact information." "What incident? What are you talking about?" "Dad, please." Michael's voice was barely a whisper. "Just go. It's better if you go." The door closed in my face. I stood there in the hallway, shaking. Not from cold. from rage, from confusion, from the absolute certainty that something was very, very wrong. I pulled out my phone with trembling fingers and called the one person I knew could help. James Wu, my friend from college, now a property lawyer in Vancouver. James, it's Tom. I need your help. Something's happened to Michael. We met at a Tim Hortons down the street. The coffee was terrible, but the booth was private. I told him everything. James listened, his expression growing darker. Tom, I'm going to be straight with you. This sounds like elder financial abuse, except targeted at your son. If they've somehow gained control of the property, if they've got him living there as essentially unpaid labor. He's my son. He wouldn't just give up his home. People don't just give up their homes. They're coerced, manipulated, legally trapped. James pulled out his laptop. Give me the address. Let me pull the property records. He typed, clicked, frowned. Okay. This is interesting. The property transferred from Michael Chen to Elena Petrov 18 months ago. The reason listed is settlement of debt. What debt? I paid for that condo in full. Not that kind of debt. It says here Michael owed Elena $400,000. In exchange for forgiveness of the debt, he transferred the property. James looked up at me. Tom, did Michael have any kind of business dealings with Elena's family? I thought back. When I first left for Fort McMurray, Elena's brother mentioned some investment opportunity. Said he could double Michael's money in a year. Tech startup or something. I told Michael to be careful, but he didn't listen. James sighed. Here's what probably happened. They got him into a fake investment. Lost his money, or more likely, there never was any real investment. Then they claimed he owed them, produced some kind of contract, threatened legal action. Michael, not wanting to drag you into it, not wanting you to know he'd screwed up, signed over the condo. That's fraud. It is. But proving it? James shook his head. That's the hard part. These people are smart. They'll have lawyers, real lawyers. The contract will look legitimate. And now they've got Michael living there, probably telling him he's lucky they're giving him a place to stay. Lucky they haven't pressed charges for fraud or breach of contract. I felt sick. So what do I do? James looked at me for a long moment. Tom, I'm going to tell you something you won't want to hear. If you go in there, angry, if you make accusations, they'll kick you out, and you'll never get near Michael again. They might even get a restraining order. So I do nothing? No. You do everything. But you do it smart. He leaned forward. You need to become someone they don't see as a threat. Someone pathetic. Someone beneath their notice. You want me to pretend to be homeless. Not pretend. Become. At least in their eyes. James pulled out a notepad. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to go back there tomorrow. You're going to apologize. You're going to say you were confused, that you've been having memory problems, that you lost your job and you're desperate. You're going to beg Elena to let you stay, just for a few days, just until you get back on your feet. They'll never agree to that. They might, because you know what people like that love more than money? Power. The power to humiliate someone, to lord it over them. If you show up broken, desperate, they might just let you in. And once you're in, you watch. You listen. You document everything. I wanted to argue. Every instinct screamed against it. But I'd spent 22 years in Fort McMurray, learning patience, learning to play the long game, learning that sometimes you had to work in conditions that would break most men. Okay, I said. I'll do it. The next morning, I went to Value Village and bought the most pathetic clothes I could find. Stained pants, a torn sweater, shoes with holes in the soles. I messed up my hair, didn't shave. I looked in the mirror and saw a broken man staring back. Perfect. I returned to the building. The same concierge wrinkled his nose as I approached. You again? I need to see Unit 2804, please. I'll just be a moment. He looked like he wanted to refuse, but something in my expression must have moved him. Or maybe he just wanted me out of his lobby. He called up. There's a person here to see you. Says it's urgent. A pause. Then, you can send him up. Elena answered the door again. This time, her expression was different. Almost amused. Mr. Chen. You look Unwell. I've had some problems, I said, letting my voice shake. Lost my job. Been sleeping rough. I need help. Just for a few days. I'm Michael's father. Please. She studied me like I was an insect. Then, slowly, she smiled. Dmitri, come here. Her brother appeared. He took one look at me and laughed. Actually laughed. This is Michael's father. The big oil worker. Look at him. He wants to stay here, Elena said. Just for a few days. Dmitri's smile widened. Why not? We could use extra help. Mikhail's been complaining about the workload. What do you say, old man? You want a place to sleep? You work for it. Cleaning, cooking, whatever we need. No pay, obviously. Just room and board. I lowered my head. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. Dmitri's voice turned cold. You slack off. You're out. You cause problems. You're out. You mention anything about property or ownership or lawyers. You're out, and we'll have you arrested for trespassing. Clear? Clear. They let me in. Gave me a closet, literally a closet to sleep in. A mat on the floor, a single blanket. I'd slept in worse in the work camps, but that had been by choice. For good money. This was humiliation by design. Michael brought me a cup of water that night. His hands were shaking. Dad, why are you doing this? He whispered. You should go. This place, it's poison. I'm not leaving without you. You don't understand. The debt. I understand. James Wu is looking into it. But I need evidence. I need to know exactly what they did to you. Michael's eyes filled with tears. Dad, I'm so sorry. The investment, it seemed so good. Dmitri showed me projections, contracts. Everything looked legitimate. By the time I realized it was fake, they said I owed them. They said they'd sue, that they'd take everything, that they'd make sure you lost your pension fighting it in court. I couldn't let that happen. So you gave them the condo, and then they said I still owed interest. Labor to work off the debt. They changed the locks, took my phone, my computer, my ID. Dad, I've been trapped here for 18 months. They watch me constantly. If I try to leave, Dmitri threatens to call the police, says I'm violating our agreement, that I'll go to jail. I pulled my son into a hug. He felt so thin, so fragile. Nothing like the strong young man I'd left behind. We're going to fix this, I whispered. But you need to trust me. Can you do that? He nodded against my shoulder. Over the next 2 weeks, I lived in hell. They worked me like a dog, scrubbing floors, cleaning toilets, cooking meals I wasn't allowed to eat. Elena delighted in finding new tasks, new humiliations. Dmitri would stand over me, criticizing every movement, threatening to throw me out if I didn't work faster. But I watched, and I listened, and I recorded. James had given me a device that looked like a hearing aid, but was actually a sophisticated recording system. Every conversation, every threat, every casual admission of what they'd done, I captured it all. I learned that Dmitri ran a sophisticated scam operation. Michael wasn't his first victim, just his most profitable. There were others, young professionals, usually immigrants or people new to Vancouver, people who didn't know the system well enough to protect themselves. I learned that the investment opportunity had never existed. It was a Ponzi scheme built on forged documents and fake testimonials. I learned that they'd drugged Michael the night he signed over the condo. Elena had slipped something into his wine, and when he woke up, the papers were signed and notarized by a notary who turned out to be Dmitri's cousin. Most importantly, I learned they were planning to do it again. There was another mark, a young woman from the Philippines who'd just inherited money from her grandmother. They were grooming her, preparing the same trap. On day 15, James called me to a meeting. I told them I needed to see a doctor. My back was hurting from all the work. Dmitri rolled his eyes, but let me go. We've got enough, James said, spreading documents across his desk. Tom, what you've recorded is gold. Fraud, forgery, false imprisonment, labor trafficking. I've already been in touch with the RCMP's Financial Crimes Unit and the VPD's Human Trafficking Division. What's the next step? We need to get Michael out safely. Once he's secure, we move. James pulled out his phone. I've arranged for a place. A safe house run by a victims advocacy group. Tomorrow morning, when they send you out for groceries, they do that, right? Every Wednesday. Perfect. You take Michael with you. Say you need help carrying things. Once you're out of the building, you run. Don't look back. Get to this address." He handed me a card. "There'll be people there waiting. They'll take your statements, get you both medical attention, and then we bring in the police." "What about evidence?" "The condo? I've got a court order ready to go. The moment you're safe, we'll freeze all their assets. The original property transfer will be voided." Michael was clearly under duress and possibly drugged. "The condo goes back to him." "And Tom? Your name's still on the original purchase documents. You're listed as co-owner. They never managed to get you off the title completely." I could barely breathe. "It's really going to work?" "It's going to work. But Tom, you need to be ready. When they realize what's happening, they're going to be dangerous. Don't confront them. Don't give them any warning. Just get out." Wednesday came. I woke up at 5 a.m., my heart pounding. This was it. Elena gave me the grocery list at 8. "Take Mikhail with you. The cart will be heavy." I nodded, keeping my expression neutral. Michael met my eyes. He knew. I'd told him last night, whispering in the darkness while the others slept. We walked out of the building together. The morning air was crisp, clean. Michael took a deep breath, like he was tasting freedom for the first time in months. "Don't run," I murmured. "Not yet. Wait until we're around the corner." We made it to the end of the block, turned left, then right, and then we ran. Michael was faster than me, younger, and despite everything, stronger. But I kept pace. We ran for 3 blocks, then ducked into the address James had given me. A woman opened the door immediately. "Mr. Chen? Michael? Come in. Quickly." She pulled us inside, locked the door. "You're safe now. The police are on their way." Michael collapsed onto a couch, shaking. I sat beside him, put my arm around him. "It's over," I said. "It's finally over." But it wasn't quite over. Not yet. The RCMP arrived within an hour. 2 officers from financial crimes, 1 from human trafficking. They took our statements, listened to the recordings, watched as their expressions went from professional interest to genuine anger. "Mr. Chen, the elder Mr. Chen," one of them said, "what you did was incredibly brave and incredibly stupid. You could have been seriously hurt. I couldn't leave my son there. I understand. But next time, let us handle it. There won't be a next time." They arrested Elena and Dmitry that afternoon. The raid was swift, professional. They found everything: forged documents, evidence of other victims, financial records showing millions of dollars in fraudulent transfers. The notary was arrested 2 days later. So were 3 other members of their network. The preliminary hearing was set for 6 weeks out. James assured me it was an open and shut case. "They're going to try to make a deal," he said. "Plead out to lesser charges. But with what you've got, with the recordings, with the other victims coming forward, they're looking at serious prison time." Michael sat beside me in James's office. He'd gained weight, color had returned to his face. But the damage went deeper than physical. "I should have called you," he said quietly. "The moment things went wrong, I should have called. You were trying to protect me. I was being proud, stupid and proud." He looked at me. "Dad, I don't know how to repay you. You don't repay family. You be better. You learn. You grow. The condo is yours, like it was always supposed to be." I paused. "Though maybe we should sell it. Start fresh somewhere else." Michael nodded slowly. "Yeah, too many bad memories there." We sold the condo for $3.8 million. The market had gone up in the years since I'd bought it. We split the money. Michael used his share to start a support group for fraud victims. I used mine to retire properly, a small house in Victoria, close to the ocean, far from the oil sands. At the trial, Elena and Dmitry were both convicted. Elena got 8 years, Dmitry got 12. The notary got 5. Their assets were seized and distributed among their victims. It wasn't perfect. Money couldn't give back the years, couldn't erase the trauma, but it was justice. Michael visited me last weekend. He's doing better, seeing a therapist, rebuilding his life. He's even dating someone new, a teacher he met at a coffee shop, someone honest and kind. We sat on my deck, watching the sunset over the water. "Dad," he said, "why did you do it?" Why did you humiliate yourself like that? I thought about the rain hammering down that first night. The shock of seeing him reduced to a servant in his own home. The rage that had threatened to consume me. Because you're my son, I said simply. And sometimes love means putting your pride in a closet and sleeping on the floor. Sometimes it means playing weak so you can become strong. Sometimes it means spending 22 years in Fort McMurray so your kid can have something better, and then spending 2 more weeks scrubbing toilets to make sure he gets to keep it. Michael wiped his eyes. I don't deserve you. You deserve everything good in this world. You made a mistake. They were predators. That's not on you. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Somewhere in Vancouver, Elena and Dimitri were in prison cells, finally paying for what they'd done. And here, on this deck, my son and I were free. 22 years in the oil sands had taught me patience. 2 weeks in that condo had taught me strategy. But sitting here with Michael, safe and whole, I learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's justice. It's reclaiming what was stolen. It's watching the people you love heal and grow and become strong again. And it's knowing that no matter how far you fall, no matter how dark things get, there's always a way back to the light.